many fucking times I've been had the score run up on me by this team and by this conference the past 3 years, okay? Do not go out there second half because we're up 32 thinking we're good.
Hell no.
Just fucking pound them. Let's go.
This is the story of Joe Don Duncan and his journey to the Denver Broncos. Joe Don was a 2-year All-American tight end at Dixie State. His competitive nature and love for the game raised him above the competition. For someone to stand out at a mid-level Division II program takes something special. You don't become great by just showing up. Most people dream of playing in the NFL, but few actually get the opportunity. For someone looking at Joe Don's position, they would say it was a long shot. But that's why we didn't ask them. We asked him.
It takes a lot of work to get to a level where you can perform every day, not only physically but mentally. You got to be playbook, you got to watch film, you got to be in and out of the classroom, and then also you got to be in the weight room, you got to be in shape, you got to run routes correctly, footwork. It's a lot of the stuff that goes into it.
Joe Don grew up in Corona, California. He was a 3-sport athlete: football, basketball, baseball. He wasn't really a huge standout in high school, but was fortunate to be on the same team with highly recruited players, which helped him to get exposure. He initially walked on to Sacramento State, but suffered a microfracture injury at the end of his right femur, ending his season. Upon his return to health, Duncan signed with Dixie State to play with his brother, linebacker Jake Duncan. In his first season with the Red Storm, he caught a record-breaking 64 grabs for 949 yards and 9 scores in 2011. The numbers caught NFL scouts' attention, but Duncan and the Red Storm coaching staff were shocked when doctors determined that he needed further surgery on the leg he had injured previously, ending his 2012 senior season before it began.
I mean, when I got here, he had just finished his junior season, so I got here and he was an All-American. He was kind of the big name guy walking in, so I was excited to meet him, obviously, and see kind of what he was like. We were lucky to have, especially in a Division II setting where a lot of times the best player, a guy that was overlooked, could be a little, cockier and kind of have a worse attitude and could kind of be more entitled. We were lucky to have Joe Don come in, and he was the hardest worker from day one, first kid in, last kid out. Set a great example and was really an asset for me as a new coach walking in the door.
I sat out all 2012. I had surgery, I think that November. I was in a wheelchair for a couple months again, then crutches, and then rehabbed all spring that semester. I didn't get cleared to go 100% until about May, June of 2013, and then I was pretty much going full from there until my senior year, 2013.
In 2013, it was finally his senior year. With all the injuries and transfers, it was his last season to do what he loved and to give it all he had. This also made it so he and his brother could play their last year together.
Down himself, unstoppable. The tank, the shark, turned down for what? That's Joe Don.
Thanks for the intro.
People were skeptical about if he still had it in him, or if he could have a year like he did in his junior season. After a full year of sitting out, you never know how you're going to bounce back. He had another killer season, breaking his own single-season records for receptions, yards, and touchdowns. He again was voted to be an All-American and was invited to the Senior Bowl. He was the only D2 player to be invited to play in that game.
So after the season was done, I pretty much took a week or so off. Not really a week, it's hard for me to take time off. I was pretty much in here with Bryce. We were training 2 or 3 hours a day, 4 days a week. I was going through the agent process, trying to figure out who my agent was going to be. I met with 8 or 10 agents over that time. Decided to sign with my old agent and was just training. And then I was training in December. It was almost over Christmas break, and I ended up breaking my 5th metatarsal in my foot the day before Christmas Eve, which was not pleasant. I had to call the Senior Bowl guy and tell him that I broke my foot, and they pulled my invite, which I don't blame them. You're not going to have an injured guy just kind of hanging out for the week. I mean, I wanted the chance to go out and show people that, like you were asking me before, that D2 tag, I just wanted to show people that that didn't exist and that I could play football on any level. And for me, breaking my foot at that point was tough, just because I didn't get that opportunity to show people that, I had that ability.
Despite not being able to play at the Senior Bowl, Joe Don was still invited to come play at the NFL Combine.
We got into Indianapolis. It's a 3-day process, 4-day process. It's just a cool atmosphere, especially coming from a small school like this. You get there and there's media, there's people. I mean, there's D1 guys walking around anywhere, like Johnny Manziel, AJ McCarron, stuff like that. With the guys you see on TV, and now they're walking past you, just and you're a part of that group that they're in, which is a cool experience. Well, because of my foot, I only got to do the bench press. So going in, my goal was the only way I was going to get my name out there, because I didn't get a chance to go in the Senior Bowl or run at the Combine or do any drills, was, that was my one chance to kind of put my name out there for the draft, put my stamp on the process. So I wanted to break the tight end bench press record, which was 35 at the time. And so going in there, I knew that was my only thing the whole week besides all the physicals and interviews and stuff like that. So I went into the bench press and I got 38, but they only counted 35 of them, which is it still stings a little bit. So I ended up tying the record, which is good, but I didn't go there to tie, so I was a little bit upset. But it was a good performance. That's the only thing I really performed in. So I'd say I did pretty well in that aspect. But other than that, I was just kind of on the sideline taking it all in. One of the tables I bounced from was the Baltimore Ravens, and I talked to Coach Pariani and Coach Kubiak, who at the time he was the OC and tight ends coach over at the Ravens. And we had a really good talk, probably about half hour, 45 minutes. We gelled well. We kind of understood the same concepts. I had an easy time understanding what they wanted to do as an offense, and I think they knew that I understood that. So we were in contact with them a lot during the draft last year, draft process, I should say. And they ended up not pulling the trigger, just probably, because of health stuff. They're not going to spend a ton of money on the guys that, they're worried can get hurt tomorrow, which I don't blame them. It's the NFL. You have to have the best of the best.
As he waited to hear back if he was drafted or signed on by teams, no phone calls came. Joe Don couldn't give up and he couldn't get away from the game. He was hired as an assistant coach at Dixie State, where he continued to grow in knowledge of the game. He continued to work relentlessly in the weight room, in training, just in case he was to get a call. A year later, Coach Kubiak, who had talked with Joe Don at the Combine with the Baltimore Ravens, was hired by the Denver Broncos. Since he was building a program around the style that he wanted in Denver, that D2 standout came to his mind. Joe Don got a call from the coach and went on a trip to visit Denver.
It was a good fit for me, especially with how they want to use me in the offense, H-back, tight end, fullback type of thing, which I think I could thrive at. So it's a great fit for me, and hopefully for the coaches. I think that we mesh well together.
After the trip in Denver was over, he signed on the 93-man roster. But just because he got signed doesn't mean his spot is secure. He is now in Denver at spring training camp trying to make the 53-man roster.
To a player, I know there's one thing you can't coach, and that's effort. And I know that. And I'm going to go in and bust my ass day in, day out, on the field, off the field, in the weight room, training room. I'm going to do whatever I can, effort-wise, to make sure they know that I'm here and I want to stay. And of course, the goal is to make the 53-man roster. I want to be on the team and I want to be there for a long time. And I think me going in and putting the work in, knowing the playbook, staying healthy, going through all that stuff that you need to go through. That's always the goal, is to make the 53-man and then contribute to the team and help the team win.
A kid like that, his work ethic, his attitude is, I know he's already memorized half the playbook they gave him. He's always asking the extra stuff he can do. There'll be times when he's calling me, I gotta tell him to shut up, go sit on the couch and do nothing, just because he won't sit down. He always wants to get better, he always wants to keep working.
It's what, April 3rd, and I won't know if I'm gonna make the 53-man until September 3rd. That's 5 months away. That's 5 months of a lot of work, a lot of playbook, weight room, therapy. You got to get. It's a long process. So I've been trying to tell everybody that's close to me, at least in my inner circle, that's getting all excited, to tell them just kind of relax. We're a long way from home, but it's a good step forward. But it's still a long process.
So now is his time to prove himself. He has a shot to do what most kids only dream of doing, to be a professional athlete. But his story isn't about being an athlete. It's about overcoming adversity and never giving up. It's about choosing to never lose focus and to follow your dreams.